All right, it is currently 9:08 a.m. as you can see here. This is for your viewing purposes. This is capturing the impossibility, and this is understanding what is criminal conduct by population. It's crossing path. That's a third-party group stalker crossing path in relevant position. And while they engage in this conduct, also, these demons engage in what is engineered light that moves across the surfaces, for example, across the walls and whatnot. That's what you see the neighborhood dumpster man universal waste engaging in. This is what they're doing while they're driving all around, walking by. They're group stalking while the entity maintains a light source over me, which is how you know there is the absolute absence of any innocent or ignorant conduct. This is federal group stalking and monitoring, and I'm starting video right now at 9:08 in the morning so that you can understand, first of all, my location. I am inside of building 1812, apartment number 6, and so that you can see on a map, let's see where I'm located, where I am on the property of Alvarado Gardens, nowhere near what is inside of my living room window. All right, the inability to see what's outside of my living room window from building 1812. In other words, there's no shared sky space. What's in perfect alignment with my living room window is not in alignment with building 1812. And you can see that here. My apartment building is building 1806 right here. 1812, I am inside of this building right here, and I am facing the same hillside. This is along the hillside. And it is, again, 9:08. This is in reference to documentation captured at the California DMV at 9:09 in the morning, where the entity is maintaining a light source. But before I show you that, I want you to see the light source that is hovering right over me as I move, okay, capturing this at 9:05 in the morning. And at 9:05, this is at the same time the entity begins sounding helicopter activity while Alexi Zagar, they're group stalking, they're crossing path, meaning they're coming out, moving around in the engineered light, which is how the people of the state and how the state itself monitors in concert with the people while that unnatural environment remains over me, that which is not possibly the sun. Not only not the sun, but you're looking at what is under no circumstances going to be seen in my living room window, okay? Just like I stated is always the case, but you're looking at what is the light source that's moving as I move on the property and what is maintenance of presence in the path by one way or another, be it a vehicle that's crossing path on Alvarado, which is what the traffic is when you also know that they're group stalking by way of the admission of the demon possessed. When you see things such as engineer light moving across the black gate, when you see engineer light moving across the apartment building, which is already documented, this is a system that Alexi Zagar and his boyfriend is engaging in while they're crossing path, walking outside of the apartment, and they're doing so while the entity is at the same time sounding helicopter activity. This is how passive-aggressive psychopaths, by the way, are targeting you and threatening you in concert with the state. Alexi Zagar and his significant other are going to federal prison, okay? They proceed walking into the parking lot, accessing their vehicle as I walk into building 1812, the building that I'm inside of right now, and I am capturing what is walking out right here. This is as I move. You're going to pay attention. You see the light source right here as I walk toward building 1812. You'll see the light source that's closer to this corner right here where I'm tapping. You can see the as in alignment, in other words, with the position of Kum Lee, and that's because I'm moving. So what am I talking about? You see the light source here, and as I move, you see the light source moving as I move, okay? Step by step. This is entirely demonic. It's as demonic as what you saw last night after 7 in the evening, and you can see the light source through my blinds in my living room, maintaining alignment with my person. That's called group stalking. That's what group stalkers do. They maintain alignment with you. They're crossing your path. All right, the entity is doing this. It's exhibited through the unnatural environment where a fake sun remains over me all day, no matter where I go, everywhere that I move. That's exactly what the people of the state are doing and the state is doing everywhere that I move, everywhere that I go. And the demons are much like animals where they use sounds and their physical presence to communicate and also to engage in the elements of monitoring. It's very demonic. What they engage in is very sick and demented. And it is that which is on accord based on what I'm doing as I'm doing it and where it is that I am doing that. So this is the light source, which is again at 9:05 in the morning. You're looking at it and you're looking at it right now. This is when the entity, this is exactly what I captured. This is who's going to federal prison at 9:05 in the morning while I'm capturing these images and that which is not the sun. 9:05, the light source is hovering over me, moving as I move. Kum Lee and Alexi Zagar of 1818 number 2, both of them, Alexi Zagar and his significant other are crossing paths while the entity is sounding helicopter activity. This is the state and the people of the state acting together to group stalk, acting together to communicate a threat, because they are so aware of what I'm doing on my cell phone, that I'm capturing the fake son, that I'm leaving the office, that I'm going to, in other words, capture more evidence. And psychopaths are only the type of people that would be hostile to that. That's a stalker that is mad and threatening your life and engaging in more stalking conduct because you are going to the court and seeking to get a petition that they stop stalking you. That's literally the psychopath of that are the demon possessed population. Okay, that is totally demented. All right. So this is the reality of what is the light source that's over me now, and I want you to recall my location. I am indeed inside of what is apartment 1812 right here, facing the hillside. This is the hillside where I'm facing, and this is the same hillside inside that I'm facing outside of my living room window, but it is not in alignment. So what's in alignment with my apartment window is not in alignment, meaning I cannot see it through, while it's in alignment with building 1812. At no point ever, while the light source is remaining in alignment with me from 6:55 in the morning, let's just say 10:29 in the morning, as I captured yesterday, while it's in the same position at the edge above my window in my living room, is the sun going to be in alignment with building 1812. That's evidence of what you are understanding, you're witnessing. The light source moves as I move, and all of the people of the state are group stalking a whole population, okay? And that's what's indicated when you're looking at a vehicle crossing path. This is a population that knows where I'm located. They're maintaining presence. This is ongoing concerted conduct to keep somebody under surveillance in an entirely demonic method. A demonic system is underway, and the entity is group stalking with the LAPD, who you hear, who I'm pointing out while they're flying at a great distance, but yet inside of my office, the sound of helicopter activity is heard, which is a communication of a threat by the people of the state that are group stalking with that government, and they're all demons acting to that criminal end together. So while I'm capturing that, I just wanted that to be prefaced because that's exactly what I'm documenting. The entity is stalking with the fake sun over my head, doing so while I remain at what is the leasing office, walking out of the leasing office, sounding helicopter activity. And under no circumstances is there any sun that's going to be over the California DMV while I'm looking out of the window facing the hillside of building 1812, while I am at the same time capturing the group stalking conduct of the Glendale Police Department, as a matter of fact. And the entity is maintaining that light source as I'm capturing it at 9:09 in the morning. Go back. As I'm capturing it at 9:09 in the morning on June 5th of 2024. And that is a matter of documentation. Here you go, right here. I capture that in screen images. This is what I'm capturing at 9:09. You can see, hold on one second. This is speaking to the criminal presence of the state that's communicating a threat while you document the people. That's the timing of the arrival of the Glendale Police Department, and the light source was directly over my head at 9:09 in the morning. I'm doing so while I am documenting the people of the state. June 5th, oh, that's Uber I'm documenting. I'm showing you what's occurring while the Glendale Police Department are crossing path with me, and this is why I'm giving you the double screen. The light source is over the DMV in Glendale, and that address, again, it looks like it's 1335 West Glen Oaks Boulevard. This is the light source that's over me at 9:08 in the morning, and I'm remaining inside of what is building 1812, starting this video at 9:08, speaking to what is 9:09. The ability to have the same identical maintenance of presence, this is exactly what I'm pointing out, is not the case also in Ontario, California, where I'm at the Ovid Family Community Library, where the entity is also engaging in a pattern of stalking in helicopters. This is the same entity that is providing in a writing admissions to be used against the people of the state acting via speaker companies, the people of the state acting via Don Noggle, the people of the state acting via Heather Teal, who are indeed engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. And then that state is in the shoes of the government that's keeping you under surveillance in the workplace, threatening your ability to remain employed. I want you to understand the psychotic level of malice that is exhibited through that. and the ability to prove what the government is doing, and then you are aware of everything else that the government is doing in the life of the targeted individual that is hostile to being exposed, and the desperate links to which that government goes. And let me be clear, Speaker Companies is the state. It's not a legitimate company. They're not exercising any privacy rights. It's not exercising any authority that it has under the law as a company in the shoes of the state, where federal group stalking monitoring is underway. And literally the employees, the corporate office, are engaged in both federal stalking and group stalking it doesn't get any more malicious than that. It's absolute psychopathic conduct. So this is the impossibility that the sun is over the California DMV. That's exactly what I'm capturing, though. For purposes of illustrating what the entity was doing right now, Alexei Zagar, threatening my life, threatening my safety, Kumli doing the same while they are crossing path, and the entity is just creating a soundtrack. Demons crossing path all around you while the entity sounds helicopter activity. Demons crossing path while I am inside of this apartment, and doing so while they are driving on the roads and the highways such as Lobdell Place and Effie and Avalon, driving on the roads and the highways, walking all around on the corners. They're group stalking. That's exactly what they're doing. What you see the people of the state doing at Alvarado Gardens, this is what the whole population is doing on a larger scale. So in order to encapsulate the state's criminal system at this property is to show you, for you to understand what the entire population is doing. Literally, as I am, for example, just driving on the Interstate 10 freeway, for example, which I've documented before, which again, the entity is, there's no legal argument. Heather Till is going to federal prison. There is no time of day ever that the sun is going to be visible through the passenger side window of Tracy Banks' vehicle that is on the 60 freeway, the 10 freeway, and the entity is maintaining the light source over the Alvarado Gardens apartments all day long. There's no point ever that is capable of happening ever. It is indeed beyond a reasonable doubt the pattern of conduct by the state that is engaged in surveillance in concert with the people of the state, and the people of the state utilize their companies, their real properties, their vehicles, whatever it is that they have at their disposal to facilitate the state's criminal system. And they do so with an intent to obstruct justice. And you've seen all the iterations of criminal acts of obstruction of justice, and it includes threatening the targeted individual's employment. While you know that you are surrounded with insurmountable evidence, but because of such an unhealthy level of, I would say, arrogance and an ego that you don't even have any grounds to maintain any ego, you are entirely defeated and exposed. You are speaking to what is necessary, an enhancement to your time in federal prison, because that is a communication, an unlawful one by the state, to state that they will under no circumstances cease to engage in the criminal conduct that they exact for no lawful or legitimate purpose. That's what's being communicated, as opposed to standing firm, 10 toes down, if you will, as I speak of the vernacular, and a point that you do not have, a principle that you do not have. You don't have any legitimate perspective, position whatsoever. You are entirely engaged in criminal conduct, and you're doing so in the workplace, and you're threatening an American citizen's right to not only enforce your right to not be subject to it, but also you're threatening my life and thinking you're going to silence me. No, you go to federal prison for that. The federal government is not going to, under any circumstances, overlook that. Every word that's typed in the email, every word that's embodied in those documents, literally you're going to compare it with what the criminal conduct consists of, and that's directly relevant to how long you sit in federal prison, because that's where you are interpreting the malice. That's where you are interpreting the inhumane desire and appetite to torment, threaten, target, and engage in what is violating an American citizen in every way that the entity can fathom, even when it is already defeated. So in other words, you're a whole psychopath who's just waiting until you're seated inside of the federal courtroom. You're waiting for that. That speaks to what the federal court needs to make a statement to you, needs to make an example out of you, because you're going to learn well before it enters into any federal tribunal. That's why they're going to be made an example out of, because not only the rest of the nation, but the world needs to understand what is under no circumstances going to be tolerated. And it is no small thing where the government is threatening your ability to maintain employment, where that government is terrorizing you in that workplace. And that's exactly what Speaker Companies represents. It's a terrorist, and it shall be published as such. The corporate office is going to federal prison. The employees for the SoCal division of Speaker Companies are going to federal prison. The entity is, let me be clear, everyone working for Speaker Companies will be inevitably tethered to what is terrorism in the state of California, and the fact that you were affiliated with that. That's not going to be mistaken or, in other words, slighted by. That's going to be specifically highlighted. And that's just one actor within the whole population that are the people of the state. There is no shared sky space with the California DMV while I'm facing the hillside. Remember what Uber is doing at 9:36 in the morning when I am being driven up toward this property, which is impossible. The Alvarado Gardens is facing the hillside. It's entirely impossible that it would be the light source, the sun, not the light source. It's possible that the light source, but it's not possible that the sun would be seen at this direction in alignment with me. Also, and then while you're at an entirely different location, which is not even facing this direction, that it's over the California DMV, and then to be seen over me while I am traveling to this location and not even coming to this point yet. I am on June 5th, I'm arriving at the entrance of Alvarado Gardens at 9:36 in the morning. The light source is remaining over my head as I get out of the vehicle of Uber, a third party, and I am at the entrance, which is not seen while I am facing the hillside into the depths of Alvarado Gardens apartments. Okay, so this is not moving upward over any vehicle over DMV on the freeway on the 2 up Clifford Street, and then specifically as you turn onto then Alvarado Street, moving over Silverview Townhomes. This is none of that. It's remaining stationary right here over me, and it's not seen through the living room window of 1806 apartment number 6. This is directly relevant to what is maintaining this light source, because remember, I'm still here as I'm documenting the pattern of conduct after 5 p.m. and you see the people of the state, such as Amazon Prime, while this light source is maintaining perfect alignment as I'm still in the same parking lot of the property, and not in alignment with my bedroom window. Very distinct placement. I'm pointing these details out because the federal government is witnessing, the world is witnessing and recognizing, first of all, what is wicked, second of all, what is criminal and psychotic. And what is upon detailing, providing detailed documentation, speaking to the mental illness that a demon-possessed population wants to conceal. And that mental illness is literally a neon flashing sign where you are aware of the criminal conduct that a government seeks to engage in with the people, whose condition they want to maintain a secret, and the psychotic criminal conduct that they want to secretly engage in. None of that is capable of being maintained as a secret under the evidence that is already gathered. This is just another example of it. So I just want to make sure that we can look at this together. So let me go back really quick. 0605. No, hold on. And indeed, I just want to make sure that I point this out. The entity is threatening my life in the workplace while engaging in the elements of monitoring with specific knowledge of the fact that it's being documented, which is no unlawful conduct, referencing the entity as exactly the federal courts. It will be a matter of what are court documents. It is legally relevant that this is entirely satanic. So this is that criminal entity seeking to proscribe speech. That is literally in violation, and this is the reality, addressing what is the demented and alternate universe that the demon-possessed, abusing government positions are operating in. You're literally a delusional psychopath. And there are actual laws to deal with and to be created in order to prosecute what is the alternate universe that a corrupt government is operating in when they are seeking to obstruct justice and silence you. So this is the light source that's remaining over me while I am showing you the light source that's over me while I'm inside of my leasing office, while I am on the freeway and en route to and from the DMV. This is what I'm documenting. And the entity is maintaining this light source on the freeway. I can't see any of this while I am on Alvarado Gardens property. The entity is maintaining this specific environment and doing so street for street, turn for turn, including on the freeway en route to the DMV. So I'm going to advance time because I captured it in images and I documented license plates, all of whom are going to be prosecuted as engaging in state terrorism. There's no sun that's going to be over me. We're getting off the San Fernando freeway exit while I am showing you the light source that's remaining over me while a third-party group stalker, Uber, is engaged in the P.O.C. and its evidence through the unnatural environment that's remaining over me while, while it is present in relevant position. That's the significance of the specific environment following. as opposed to the natural environment that's not going to be following in this manner. It doesn't maintain, you don't maintain this specific environment everywhere that you're going. You're maintaining the specific environment that is present to the light source no matter where you're going, because all of the people of the state, like you see in above, are group stalking you together. That's the significance of that. And this is what the entity is engaging in as I am traveling on June 5th, documenting the people of the state and the light sources remaining over me everywhere that I'm going. The reason why you do this is because the whole population is maintaining criminal presence. Just like you're seeing while I'm looking out this window of building 1812, and the entity is maintaining a light source over me through the apartment building of 1812, and you're looking at third parties such as 8LSA 302, who is crossing path. It's a criminal act. And it's also the ability to know this third party's condition. These are demons that act as a population. And this is what has overwhelmed the population in California. It's a matter of public corruption. And this is how you have like a Department of Motor Vehicles, which is, by the way, is a state facilitating venue that has no shared sky space. You're going to see the highlights, the hallmarks. This is engineer light. There's no sun that's going to be over the California DMV at 8:39 in the morning when I'm remaining here, by the way, showing you what is the light source that's remaining over me as I'm documenting what is amplification of helicopter activity while I'm inside of my office, and I'm capturing it on video at 8:43 in the morning, and the light source is remaining here. It's right here, still facing outside of the hillside side of the Alvarado Gardens. This is where it's at. And the entity is stalking in a helicopter at that great distance, impossible for me to hear. Those are the hallmarks: stalking in helicopter, stalking with the light source, and the placement of engineer light. Not only is this light activity that's inside of the California DMV not even the product of the sun, that's not the sun, nor is this sunlight. This is the engineer light that you see moving and bouncing all around on my ceilings and on the walls inside of my bedroom. This is the engineer light that's actually all over the place, all over the property. And it's creating the shape of the door, and the shape of the door is laying flat on the inside of the building, while that which is the light source and not the sun is remaining directly over me, which is exactly what I capture. And it's in defiance of nature, because while I remain at Alvarado Gardens, never going anywhere near the DMV of Glendale off of Glen Oaks, you're understanding what the people of the state are doing, and they're group stalking. And this is the state of California at a government building engaging in the state's criminal pattern of conduct. This is the light source that is at 8:39 in the morning, seen through the window, which is not creating what is engineer. This is engineer light, not the sun. This is engineer light, impossible light activity. And let me be clear, the position of the sun that's above a building does not create light activity inside of the depths of that building in this nature. It would be shaded. So you're just paying attention to the peculiar light activity and what is actually impossible and unnatural light conduct. And it is directly pointing at demons who are group stalking you, keeping their back to you, looking to the left and right, especially why those demons know exactly what it is you're doing on your communication device. Okay, not coincidentally looking back. This is a demon that's aware of my operation of my communication device, and not because I'm holding it in my hand. It's because these are demons that are engaged. Let me be clear. The demon possessed are engaged in what is monitoring that is outside of your ability to be aware of it. So I'm pointing it out to you. What the demon possessed do with regard to the elements of monitoring, it affects real-time operation of your communication devices. That demonic activity is affecting the operation of the internet and the ability, and you're thinking that it's errors or some sort of malfunction, and it's not. All right, it is entirely demonic, and they are also aware of what it is that you're doing. And let me be clear, this is the absence of some sort of ability to assume that people are strangers to you. The demonic know exactly who you are, and that is by spirit. Let me be clear, Satan knows who basically he does not own. So Satan is obsessed with those. Satan is stalking those. Satan is keeping under surveillance through a corrupt government that's literally drowning in the demonic. They're demon possessed, in other words. They're consumed with those that do not belong to Satan. And I'm referencing those who belong to the Lord Jesus, those who do not walk in darkness. That is, with regard to the criminalization of this demonic activity, prosecution for discrimination, just pointing out legally what's relevant there. But nonetheless, the entity is engaging in criminal conduct, and it's readily identifiable through the unnatural environment. This is the light source that's over me at 8:41 in the morning, and at 8:43, which is where I'm inside of my leasing office today. And the entity is maintaining this light source, which is exactly what I'm documenting here. Okay, amplifying the sound of helicopter. This is demonic. It's amplification. This is how the entity is targeting. You also know that they're targeting and that they're group stalking, and it's occurring in the workplace where the entity is simultaneously. This is the light source that's over me while I am looking at the same time at the light source that's over me at the California DMV as I step outside of that door. I'm looking at this light source, remember, through the window of the DMV, very specific and exclusive sky space. This is not going to be outside of my doors of my leasing office at the Alvarado Gardens apartments, and it certainly has nothing to do with what is remotely close to being anywhere near my location while I'm in an entirely different region, for example, same time of year analysis. So let's just go to where am I at around the same time where I am maintaining, which I went to the extent of documenting already, where I am maintaining presence 8:41 in the morning on June 25th, 2022, same time of year analysis. This appears to be my location at, let's see, June 25th. I can get more context. We can go to that folder, but I have more than one example. This looks like, this is Pomona, California. No. Glendora, California is what it looks like, where I was documenting the pattern of conduct. The light sources remaining over. Oh, this is Rancho Cucamonga, California. Yeah, this is Rancho Cucamonga, California. That is third-party group stalker Tracy Banks. This is Rancho Cucamonga, California, and this is documenting the light source that's remaining over me as I'm documenting it. We can recall. Let's just explore that, if we will. Same time of year analysis, 8:03. Oh, that which has nothing to do with whatever. It's never going to be seen outside of any leasing office window of Alvarado Gardens in LA. It's never going to be seen over the California Department of Motor Vehicles in Glendale, and neither do Glendale and the leasing office location have any shared sky space, and they are entirely distinct from one another, and you're looking at the identical environment with regard to what are two distinctly and impossible to coexist within the natural environment. That which is supposed to be the sun is directly over my head at two entirely distinct locations, both of whom, as I'm speaking, referencing Glendale and Los Angeles, Alvarado Gardens, with regard to a whole body of evidence that's already on the record, fully exposing what is stalking with a light source. And this is where the entity was rising, and I put that in air quotes. Keeping a light source where I would wake up in the morning, sleeping inside of a car at 630 North Fern Avenue at 8:06 in the morning. This is where the light source is, and that's not the sun. Okay, this is because I was documenting that then, and it's very vivid with regard to that fact when I am nowhere near that location, same time of year, June 25th. The entity is maintaining a light source over me, and it is entirely separate from what would ever be seen while I am in Ontario, California, and Rancho Cucamonga, California, which is what I'm documenting on this day while the light source is remaining over me. This is what I'm pointing out. For example, today at 9 o'clock in the morning, the entity is on June, let's see, we've got June 23rd. At the same time, 9:09 while I'm at DMV, which is not going to be outside of the building, the window of apartment 1812 in alignment with me. First of all, you're going to see the entity crossing path in the sky space. The entity is also maintaining the light source over my head. Impossible to be the natural environment while I am inside of apartment 1812 at the same exact time. Impossible to be the sun while I'm at the California DMV on Glen Oaks in Glendale, California. But you're looking at what is a pattern with regard to the maintenance of a scientific impossibility that is captured in the unnatural environment and the pattern of stalking. And this entity that seeks to obstruct justice by threatening employment while you are a whole demon-possessed entity, failing in your endeavor to in any way establish that you are anything other than a demon-possessed group stalker, okay? Going by company names, going by whatever your individual name is, going by nothing other than the state of California that's utilizing the people of the state. This is the light source that's over me. This is flying directly over me, as I stated, as I captured in still images. This is the fake sun directly over me. This is at 9:09 in the morning on June 23rd, 2022. Haven City. Just want you to see the helicopter. All right, this is the entity that's doing so in a specific environment. This is Haven and Arrow. These are demons. This is their condition. This is the specific environment, and that includes the hallmark. What I'm documenting while I remain at the DMV in Glendale, first of all, this is the criminal system that is underway, and the entity is engaging in what is obstruction of justice, while it engages in the pattern of arriving via the state that is Glendale Police on this day, and the correct address for Glendale, by the way, that has nothing in common with regard to an address or anything that I can see outside of the window of a building 1812 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6, as I'm facing the hillside, 1335 West Glen Oaks Boulevard. And again, on this day in 2022, not on this day, at the same time in 2022, same time of year, the entity is maintaining a light source over me while I'm documenting the pattern of conduct that I'm subject to. And this is what I'm capturing at 9:08 in the morning. This is what I'm faced with this morning while I'm inside of my leasing office, and the entity is maintaining this light source as I'm documenting it, as I'm moving about on the property. What's happening right now is the entity is maintaining this light source as I started this video at 9:08 in the morning, and I want you to recall what's going on right now. The entity is maintaining this light source. And on this day, on June 5th in 2024, when I went to the DMV, I am at this time nowhere near what is Alvarado Gardens yet. I'm on Glendale Boulevard. I'm capturing video coming up Clifford Street, and the entity is maintaining the light source over me while I am inside of that vehicle of what is Uber, and the light source is directly over my head.
Erica.
While you're looking at the top.
Of the sun over
So I want to be clear. The entity, as I started this video at 9:08 in the morning, it's currently 9:38 in the morning. At this time on June 5th, I am at the entrance of the Alvarado Gardens. Let me be clear. While I am at the entrance, I cannot see outside of this sun would not be visible outside of this window facing the hillside. It's at the entrance, and it's over my head at the entrance, which is not going to be on the opposite side building, on the opposite side, the back side of building 1812 or building 1806, my apartment building. Understand that. So this is the light source that's clearly nowhere over the property of Alvarado Gardens on the bottom. At 9:36, the same time, it's currently 9:38 in the morning, and you have seen the maintenance of this light source right over me while I'm at the property. This is the same property where you see the entity stalking by helicopter day and night, and that's exactly what's happening in the workplace, while I am literally dealing with this entity that is threatening employment while it is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. I cannot stress enough how long Heather Till and Don Noggle in particular, who just happen to be the ones that are sending what are admissions against the entire entity, while this entity seeks to violate the American citizen's right to be employed and not be subject to federal group stalking and monitoring. Okay, this is the light source that's nowhere over the building or the property of Alvarado Gardens, and it's certainly not visible in a location where I can, outside of the back portion of the property windows or property facing the hillside, the sun's not outside of this location. You're looking at it while I'm on coming from Glendale, coming up Clifford.
Drop off Erica. This is the absence of the sun over Alvarado Gardens, which you've seen. I was on the freeway. I was at the DMV. It moves as I move.
This is Clifford Street. Watch the fake sun turn in the same direction that the vehicle turns in order to maintain perfect alignment with me. And none of this is shared with where I'm located, same time of year analysis in Rancho Cucamonga at 9:09 in the morning. And the entity is indeed engaging in what is the pattern? Stalking in helicopters. Stalking in helicopters in concert with a population. The population is engaged in terrorism and group stalking together. This population is woefully unprepared for not only its exposure, but the world is recognizing and being made aware of the demon possessed that surround us, American citizens in this country, which is relevant to your safety, and it's also relevant to your constitutional and human rights, where it is infiltrating, this demon possession is infiltrating the American government and the so-called free world. Let me be clear. Satan despises you and your so-called freedoms and liberties that are, by the way, are God-given. And this constitutional government that we maintain is supposedly created in acknowledgement of that. Satan is entirely hostile to that. Entirely. And this is why you have a corruption in the government that is bowing to the knee of Satan. And then Satan has the audacity to tell you not to call him by his name. That's literally the documentation of the state, which is in this employee warning notice. Let me be clear, that's a demon. That's the state that is serving Satan, engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring, and then telling you not to reference it by its name. I'm going to prosecute for that. Okay, so the entity is maintaining this specific environment, and let's recall again what the entity is doing, which is nowhere near what is the what is nowhere near the outside of the window of apartment number 1812 at the same time, as I've remained here since 9:08. I started capturing this video, and you've seen it. It's not gone anywhere. It's nowhere near over Glendale Boulevard. In other words, over Glendale in an entirely different direction this way, all right, on Glendale over the freeway while I'm en route to this location, but yet at the same time remaining stationary in alignment to me. This is showing what is the evidence of group stalking. This is showing what is the evidence of demon possession, while a demonic environment surrounds me, and the demon possessed surround group stalking in the same obsessive hovering manner. This is the reality of what the population is and what they're doing. They are entirely obsessed. And then the obsessed stalker is mad because you're telling on them. That's a psychopath. Okay? This is the light source, and
the sun does not remain
This is Silverview Townhomes, not Alvarado Gardens, in alignment with me.
And an ubiquitous presence at the same place everywhere that you're going, regardless of whether...
I'm on Alvarado Street right now. At the same time, I'm beyond Alvarado Street. I'm on the property, at the back portion of the property, looking outside of the window that faces the hillside. The same hillside where I'm showing you the so-called sunset this morning during the 7 o'clock hour. Okay? This is what you're looking at.
It's stationary all day long. 9 HUE 802 is crossing path. While that engineered environment follows, it's now over Silverview Townhomes, and now it's going to be over Alvarado Gardens, and all of the people of the state with a straight face are group stalking. This is what I mean.
Okay, so this light source that's over my head is not over the back portion of this apartment building, my apartment building, building 1806. In other words, to be seen through the living room window of my property. It's clearly over me on Alvarado Street, and maintaining presence over me as I then walk to my apartment building on video, which is the next video I captured where LAPD is stalking in a helicopter. And the light source is moving over me, advancing on the property as I advance onto the property, as opposed to what you see here, where I don't go anywhere near the state facilitating venue of the California DMV on Glen Oaks in Glendale, California. And that which is not the sun that was over me there, speaking to the pattern of conduct by the state, is engaging in what is the same system here while I am showing you the evidence, the supernatural occurrence, that which is not the natural environment, in other words, the proof of what is demonic and demon possession by those who are maliciously keeping you under surveillance in the so-called free world. All right, that's what you're looking at, and this is
crossing path. While that engineered environment follows, it's now over Silverview Townhomes, and now it's going to be over Alvarado Gardens, and all of the people of the state with a straight face are group stalking. This is what I mean. It's not even intelligent. It's just 100% demonic. Thank you. It's 9:36 a.m.
So this is what the entity is doing, again, while it's remaining directly over me, and I captured what is the maintenance of that light source. So at 9:09, not only is that not the sun, while I'm just showing you the pattern of conduct here in LA, there's already a body of evidence speaking to what the entity is doing. And the entity is indeed engaged in state surveillance with a whole population of people, all of whom are demon possessed. This is a great issue, well, it is a spiritual issue, but this is a serious issue regarding the entirety of the population. I just so happen to be in Southern California pointing it out because I'm one person in Southern California. But I'm letting you know, by virtue of what is the unnatural environment that follows from Glendale, it follows as I remain in an entirely different region for years. This is what's happening throughout the entire state of California. There is no sun that's over third-party group stalker Uber in San Francisco. It's remaining as a matter of documentation over me at one address. And as I'm comparing that to what remained over me, never being over Alvarado Gardens, while it is remaining over me as I documented on June 23rd, and the entity is engaging in the hallmark, stalking in helicopters in that specific environment, which is not going to be over my head, seen through the window of building 1812 as I started this video at 9:08 in the morning. This is the pattern of conduct.
Flying directly over me.
Remember, 9:08, 9:09 in the morning, the light source is hovering over the DMV as I'm capturing the people of the state, group stalking and engineer lights moving across that DMV. It's the same time. 9:08, I'm starting this video today while I'm looking out of the window of building 1812, remaining at Alvarado Gardens, never going anywhere near that DMV. Not at all did I go anywhere near Rancho Cucamonga, and you're looking at what is impossible to be the case, but while you're looking at that impossibility, it is the evidence of the criminal system of federal group stalking and monitoring, which is demonic activity. The government that serves Satan shall not under any circumstances proscribe your speech while it engages in criminal conduct in service to Satan. That's an enhancement to your federal charges. And sentencing.
As I stated, as I captured in still images, this is the fake sun directly over.
And you're looking at what is not over that parking lot in Rancho Cucamonga while it's remaining over me outside of the, over my head, remaining while I'm looking outside of the apartment building 1812 number 6. And let me be clear, all of the population is simultaneously witnessing me exposing them. This is how you get to such psychotic conduct by the people of the state, literally writing me a letter. It is evidence. You are so going to federal prison for engaging in that act of obstruction of justice. And I'm referencing a so-called employee, an entirely invalid and unintelligent, a ridiculous document as an admission, because that's exactly what it is, by the state, and they're all going to federal prison, the whole corporate office. Because they're all engaged in group stalking and obstruction of justice. They're all engaged in federal stalking. So this is the light source that's remaining over me while the entity's stalking my helicopter.
Just want you to see the helicopter. All right, this is the entity that's doing so in a specific environment. This is Haven and Arrow. These are demons. This is their condition. This is a demonic system. I'm showing you not only what is demonic activity, it's also criminal monitoring.
And this is exactly what I'm pointing out to you when you're looking at a third party driving down the street, crossing path, walking down the street, walking their dog, crossing path, living on the grounds, living in the specific environment. The reason why the light source, which is not the sun, is over me here, and it's not the natural environment, which would have no sun over my head. It would still be in a position where you would see it in Rancho Cucamonga toward that location. It's not going to be here. The reason why it's here is because they're all engaged in that criminal system. That's why it's here. And that is directly relevant to what is an inevitable federal prosecution, period. You don't have any legal relevant rebuttal or defense. The government is doing it through the people, and the people of the state have demonstrated their engagement in that by the asininity that is in the form of an employee warning document that the people of the state provided to me. But also, let's be clear, the entity provides evidence against itself while it's stalking in the path. This is how you get impossible light activity moving across buildings, like I documented on June 5th. Let's remember what the ongoing admission that the people provide while they're group stalking. The Metro bus driving on Glen Oaks while the light source is over my head and not over any building at Alvarado Gardens, not over me in Rancho Cucamonga while the entity is stalking in a helicopter at the same time.
Metro's a group stalker. Pattern of conduct. Metro's a group stalker.
So this is
1439158.
Engineer light moving across. Pay attention to the black asphalt. The shape of the bus appearing on the black asphalt, that's the same pattern you're seeing where the fake sun is over me at the California DMV, and the shape of the window is appearing flat on the ground on the inside of that building. This is the affect of engineer light. Light is not ricocheting onto black asphalt, creating the shape of whatever that engineer light hits. It's not going to molest your person. It's not going to sweep across the sidewalk. It's not going to hit the buildings around you. That is the outward demonstration, first of all, of demon possession. It's the admission by the people of the state who are group stalking with the state. And it is demonic activity. So I want to be clear, it's not just the driver, it's everybody on that bus, everybody in the building surrounding, everybody walking on the sidewalk around me, everybody stalking in planes and helicopter. Let me be clear, the entity didn't arrive on video in a perceptible manner by helicopter. The entity is always stalking in helicopter. And if I were to go to Glendale every day, the entity would advance to that degree of threatening conduct, stalking in helicopters, which is what the entity is always doing. Always. I only went to Glendale for one day, and that's why. But the entity did inevitably engage in stalking directly while Glendale police arrived. The pattern of conduct is such that the entity continues in an ongoing progressive advancement in threatening the life of the target individual that's documenting it. This is how you get to stalking in helicopters.
That's the pattern of conduct. Metro's a group stalker. 1439158, engineer light on the street. 9
and
Metro's
the entity is
pictures of
engaging
them.
in the same.
8YSP178 federal prison. 9DOJ182 federal prison. Engineer light moves across the building, going to federal prison.
All right, so that's an impossible attack. That's, first of all, it's not even the sun, and nor is sunlight from this distance moving across a building. You're in traffic. There's no light that's ricocheting off of your car onto buildings while you are driving in traffic. That's demonic. And that is the admission provided to the federal government that the population are indeed engaged in state surveillance with the government. And it's demonic. And no demon-possessed government shall, under any circumstances, proscribe the speech of an American citizen that has the right to be free from the demonic practices of that government that is obsessively keeping that American citizen under surveillance. And the fact that you have to go to such extents to establish that as a rule of law is just speaking to the depths that we have reached as a society, as a so-called American society. It's just speaking to, for such a time as this is where we're at. And it is literally sounding the alarm for those who are awake, those who are listening, those who are looking with their eyes open, paying attention to what the Lord is telling you is going on right now. Okay, this is the people of the state. This is the same speaker companies. This is the same Carla Lopez. This is the same Heather Teal. This is the population that is keeping you under surveillance and then obstructing justice, threatening your ability to maintain employment while it is keeping you under surveillance in the workplace. This is why I can't go to DMV and escape the criminal system.
8YSP178 federal prison. 9DOJ182 federal prison. Engineer light moves across the building, going to federal prison. All right.
And this is while the light source is directly over my head. Pay attention. You see the illumination right here? The The light source is right here above my head, which I already captured for you to see. So let me just remind you again, what's the posture of the environment? The unnatural environment is such that the light source remains directly over my head, just like you're seeing outside of the window of apartment 1812 number 6, where I'm at right now, where there is no sun over the California DMV at Glen Oaks Boulevard and Glendale. And there certainly is no sun at the same time also in Rancho Cucamonga while I'm in that parking lot at Rancho of Haven and I believe Archibald. And the entity is engaging in the hallmark of stalking in helicopters. It does not get any more vivid than that. Heather Till and Don Nagel are going to federal prison. It is an absurd level of malice, and it will under no circumstances be tolerated. You're not only going to federal prison, but you are facing an enhancement to your charges and time in your sentencing. Because of that, it needs to be known what American citizens are subject to. Not only are they being kidnapped, remember in June of 2022 right now, the entity is kidnapping me inside of a facility where they're group stalking me inside of that facility. And then those demons, those psychopaths, they are suffering from the mental illness, abusing their positions that they hold while practicing medicine. A psychiatrist, many of them, all of them nurses, are criminally defaming me while they're engaging in this same exact pattern of conduct. This is what the government is doing amongst a population. They're driving ambulances, they're at the fire stations, they're driving fire trucks, they're at the police stations, they're driving police vehicles, they are at the sheriff's department, they're driving sheriff's department vehicles, they are stalking in helicopters, they're in operation and in possession of armored vehicles, just like you see on the news reporting chases, and they're pulling up. That's the people of the state, by the way, and the state, and the pattern of conduct is underway as you see that. And the entity, by the way, the people of the state are reporting the news to you. Channel 7 News is in relevant position in the specific environment here off of the 2 freeway. They're group stalkers. I've documented Telemundo. They're group stalkers in Fontana, California. Light source over me, never over Alvarado Gardens, and for the duration of the day, like I've documented. Telemundo is the people of the state, and they're engaging in the P.O.C, reporting the tilted angle bias that they present in the Spanish language. That's all they are. The people of the state that speak Spanish. And they're documented group stalkers. Okay, so this is just speaking to what is every area of society that the government very well is exercising control over while it is engaged in surveillance through the very people of the state. Okay, this entity that engaged in kidnapping, and you think that you're going to threaten my employment while you're a whole demon-possessed entity, you can do whatever you want. You take whatever steps you want because you're going to federal prison. That's where you're going. You're going to federal prison while you're witnessing me expose you right now because you're engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet. So you listen, because it's audible activity that you're monitoring too. All right, it's the testimony against you in federal court, and you are going to federal prison, and you're going for a long time. It is currently 9:54 a.m. This is capturing the scientific impossibility that the sun is still going to be in this position over my head at 10:29 in the morning, like I documented yesterday while inside of apartment 1806 number 6, not 1812 number 6. It's going to remain over me at the leasing office while I am documenting the ongoing federal prosecution on the communication device inside of my leasing office while the people of the state make their next move. All right, it is currently, again, 9:54 a.m. This is P.O.C.